I had just been basically fired from my job. That was a toxic work environment for me, and I was burnt out and just at that point where you say, what am I doing? What's next? Because I had begun to see the pattern of, oh, maybe there's something I'm doing in these environments that's causing this agitation or frustration, and it's really a sign. The big one is self-worth. The big limiting belief for me has been I will inevitably be rejected. And the way to work with that limiting belief that really resonates with me is to surrender to it. To make a change takes a lot of courage and bravery, even though it's small, subtle steps. It's that moment of this is not okay, really allowing yourself to see what's going on and how you're contributing to it. That is the moment where change can begin. One of the biggest things I had to overcome was advocating for myself in my marriage. It's one thing to know, to get real, look in that mirror with just you in the mirror and say, I want to change. But if you don't put that change to action, you're not going to change.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's conversation. You may have been watching the podcast videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have ever gained value from our videos, from our conversations, it would mean so much to us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now, or even just give us a like. And what that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it allows us to bring in more important guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's conversation. Welcome to the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast. My name's Sophia from Sacred You, but with me today, and so importantly, is the beautiful Karen Morad, who's going to be chatting to us about everyday rituals and how we can really uncover our truth. So Karen, thank you so much for joining us.
It is a true pleasure. Thank you, Sophia.
And I'm really looking forward to getting to know you and everything about your life and how you got to where now. But you are the founder and the CEO of Ritual Everyday, which we do want to go into, where you help women uncover their truth, embody it, and integrate it into their lives. And that is so important, Karen, because I think we live in a world today where we don't really know our truth. We're living other people's lives. So I'd love to know you, Karen. Can you share what first led you to this type of work?
Oh, that is a wonderful question. It found me slowly and surely, and then not so slowly, I think. It has been honestly my whole life, because I started out thinking the answer was a patriarchal Christian view. And that was where I found faith for a long time through college until really I was a young adult and I read The Dance of the Dissident Daughter by Sue Monk Kidd. And that was my introduction to divine feminine. And my mind was blown in terms of the short premises. She's a pastor's wife from the South in the United States, which is very religious and very, you do the right thing. And she just uncovered the histories of the feminine mystery and the goddess cultures. And I was mesmerized. And around the same time, it's not all linear because nothing is. I had just been basically fired from my job. I worked in advertising and marketing before I started my own business. And that was a toxic work environment for me. And I was burnt out and just at that point where you say, what am I doing? What's next? Do I go back to this environment somewhere else? Because I had begun to see the pattern of, oh, maybe there's something I'm doing in these environments that's causing this agitation or frustration, and it's really a sign. So the path started with that book, and then it was a path of, believe it or not, fitness and health. Like, how can I get my strength back? How can I, and that taught me how to create habits and routines and everything, like looking back on it, everything just built on each other. And then I found a mentor who taught me about ecstatic leadership and feminine embodiment. And then I worked with another mentor who really helped me find my clarity and purpose, which is to facilitate personal transformation in women wanting to find their deeper feminine power, which is why I found it Ritual Everyday Ritual.
Thank you, Karen, for sharing that. It really is, I think, the amazing importance of rituals in our lives, even the little ones, to really help us, I think, overcome, I don't know, our frustrations, our stuckness, and to get back to ourselves. And I'd love to know, Karen, from you, many people in today's world, many women in today's world feel stuck in frustration. We could be very successful, but there's still stuff that is holding us back. What do you see as the biggest reason that why women struggle to create the change that they really want to?
Yeah, like conceptually, it comes down to not taking responsibility for our own actions and realizing that we are the predominant creative force in our lives. Tangibly, I've done some market research where I have talked or spoken with mostly professional women, all roles, all ages, all industries, and it really, they find whatever it is that feeds that stuckness. So whether it's not like being passed over for advancement, whether it's not being seen, whether it's looking around and feeling like they don't belong because there's no other woman in the room. It's a lot of the things we've heard before, but they use it, and I don't blame them. They use it as the excuse to stay stuck. Because I think to make a change takes a lot of courage and bravery, even though it's small, subtle steps. It's that moment of this is not okay, or really allowing yourself to see what's going on and how you're contributing to it. That is the moment where change can begin. And that's hard.
It is very hard. I hear you. There's so much that we want to do, but yet there's something that is holding us back. And a lot of it, I think, is self-doubt. And as you said, we live in a world where we don't even really know what it is, what it's like to be real, to connect to our real selves. So for you, in your experience, because we were talking before about you being real, that you're on this journey too. And I just want to take a moment just to honor you for that, really, because especially in today's world, in the technology and the social media and the influences as such, it takes something special and someone special like you to say, no, this is who I am. I'm not living someone else's life. I'm not trying to be what someone else wants me to be, but this is who I am. Through all the garbage, through all the struggles, and if I can say all the bloody crap that we go through, that is there, all the millions of layers that we've accumulated, it's there, but you're still going through it and you're very real. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Truly, truly. What, in your experience, what are some limiting beliefs that maybe held you back or is really common in holding other women back?
Yep. I'll start with me first because I've lived it too, continue to live it every day. The big one is self-worth. The big limiting belief for me has been I will inevitably be rejected. I've studied that. I've studied, and it actually, oddly enough, it's 22 steps in my life where if my ego wins, it's a pattern that's 22 steps. And I've actually had this built for me. It's a macro pattern. And so that was very interesting work because as I was building that, I was a little bit in awe that you could even study it in that way and then become so conscious of where you are in an egoic pattern that you could stop. And the way to work with that limiting belief that I have taught, there's so many ways or have been taught that really resonates with me is to surrender to it, to play it out. And so I spent a lot of time realizing I seek rejection through external validation, and getting my worth through other people instead of stopping, centering, and naming what I want. What is it that I want in this moment? And okay, that means that my son is going to reject me, or my job is not going to get done, or whatever it is. And it's so interesting when I practice surrendering into that because things just dissolve. When you get to that neutral point where I'm going to follow what I believe is in my highest good, things just dissolve around you that held you in fear before. And so rejection was a big one for me. There's a lot, and maybe this resonates for some in the audience too, around parenting and a limiting belief that I'm not a good parent because my kids watch technology and I compromise with them a lot. Like we are not good. I finally had to come to the realization that my husband and I are not good at holding rules that we really don't want to hold. And it just does no one any good. And then it's, oh, why am I trying to uphold these rules? And it's because society is like, this is what you do as a conscious parent and how you love your kids the best. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like us.
Yeah.
And so that's a big one. Yeah. And I'll share one more. The limiting belief around not being seen was a big one for me, which was really interesting because I feel like I overcompensated with seeking, like a people pleaser, like seeking that external validation because I so craved to be seen. And if I wasn't, I felt ashamed. I felt silly. It's so little. And this was a really interesting one, but it showed up in, let me invite some friends over tonight. And I'm a last minute person. So let's just see what happens. And in my mind, I'm like, they might be busy. They might not. It's okay. But when nobody comes, I feel like I'm a failure and nobody likes me. And that's not true.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hear that.
You hear that?
Totally understand it. Totally get you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can trace it back. I don't know if you want me to keep going, but I can trace that back to not being seen as a little girl because I was the youngest of three, and my oldest brother was severely handicapped. And my parents had a lot of time with him, clearly kept him at home. And it taught me so many wonderful things. But just recently, I realized that was the seed where I felt like I wasn't seen as a little girl. And I've been compensating for it ever since. And that just was like, oh my gosh, such a gift to be able to connect that.
It is when you realize the experiences that we've had in our childhood and how it affects us now. And it could be just a littlest thing, like you said, that you felt that you weren't seen because your parents spent so much time with your brother and you've been compensating it ever since. So again, can I just say congratulations for achieving that realization and to be able to go through it. And I totally hear you about being like a last minute thing and just inviting people over or whatever. But then if no one shows up, because a lot of people in our world aren't last minute, that they have plans that have been made for months in today's world. But if no one shows up, then we start beating ourselves up. So I hear you. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
And I'd love to know more about your journey. And you've created this 4-step process that I really want to go into that has really helped you make the shift to where you are now. And we were even talking beforehand again, you know, how you've been able to expand your consciousness. So tell us, what's your 4-step process?
Yeah, I will be completely honest. It's something that I am formalizing because I realize that's what I took myself through. And so this will be the basis of what I offer with Ritual everyday ritual in circle format, I think. But it's very simple. It's get real, get clear, get over, and get on. So lots of gets. But the get real is when are you, that moment when you say enough is enough and you look in the mirror. And it's that moment of taking responsibility for what is going on. And that has so many different views and flavors. But that's the get real. We're not going to play a victim or be a villain anymore. We're going to be the sole creator. And get clear is a lot. It could be a week or 2 weeks with an exercise, and it could be a lifetime of how deep do you want to go in terms of finding clarity around what you just got clear on. Just this week, I am starting a new job to create some financial structure in our family. So that is consistently there. And then I will go back and shift focus to Ritual everyday ritual. And so just this week, I'm a 20-year marketer. I had to become a salesperson. I made 65 sales calls, cold calls this past week. And so I had to take myself through, do I want this? Like, how real can I get in terms of who I am and what I'm capable of and what needs to get out of the way? And when I named those fears, it's get clear on where they come from. Who are they? Who is telling me this? And do I need to surrender to it, deal with it, or let it go? And there's a bunch of embodiment practices that help with that. That's not just a mind game. That's a whole body of where do you feel it? How do you visualize it? What's it saying? And then the associations that go with that. And then getting over is really what's on the other side. You know, like what prompted you to get real and get clear? Clearly you want something else. So what is it that you truly desire? And get on is build that structure, build that habit or that routine and embody it. Because without embodying that new identity, you won't change.
Yes. Yes, and that takes a while. And it takes having a coach like yourself or other people, a group, community one is to help you be accountable, but also knowing that others have got your back. Go through a similar thing, that we can all go through this together. Thank you. And for everyone who is watching and listening, do click on those links below and check out what Karen has to offer, especially with the Ritual Everyday Ritual, which I also want to know more about too. But I just want to go back a little bit, Karen, because you talked about embodiment. You know, embody things so much again in today's world. We're all in our head. As a generalization, we're on the technology, we're all in our head. We are thinking far too much. We've become very masculine as a way and forgotten about our feminine parts of us and disassociated ourselves with our bodies. So how does working with the body help us break these old patterns? What can we do?
Yeah. I think you have a thing or two to say about this. It's such a gift to turn your mind off for a little while. And I've studied ecstatic leadership with a wonderful mentor, Anahita June. And so this is her definition of ecstatic leadership that I agree with, which gets us, it includes our mind, it's understanding, and it is masculine, and that does have a role, but it's whole body living. And that really means what do you feel, what do you know, and how do you be? So it's 50% masculine, 50% feminine, 50% mystery, 50% earth. It's the whole thing. And when we can embody something with all of those elements, that is a true integration. That's full pleasure. How do we get into our body more is different for everybody, but I have dance parties. Like that's my break. I have 2 dogs, so I do get out in nature, but it is that turn off and move my hips. Like, what does it feel like? And when I have coaching sessions or I'm in a conversation where people are open to reflection, the follow-up question after they talk about what's disturbing your peace or what's on your mind is, where is it in your body? And just getting them to see where is that showing up. And then, okay, if maybe then it's going into, let's just shut our eyes and ground and tell me about it. How does it feel? What do you see? And that is fun because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's not always fun. Sometimes it's incredibly emotional. But I also think there's an underlying level of fun because you're getting somewhere and this is going to yield something that is greater than you even know. Just being willing to drop into your body and play around with what you think you're feeling, what's blocking you. And then it's routine too. Okay, it feels that way. Do that, go back there in your body for the next 7 days. And maybe you freestyle. What does it want to tell you today?
Just to go through those blockages.
Yeah.
So, what if someone's feeling really stuck right now and wants to release whatever it is that's holding them back? What's the first step that we can take to begin shifting the patterns? Is it writing? Is it meditating? What is it? Dancing? I love it how you're just moving the hips and dancing to release all that energy that is suppressed in us.
Yeah. What if somebody is stuck in this moment? What can they do to move the energy? I think it could be different for most people, but what's coming up right now is shake. Get up, bend your knees, and just that's my go-to. That's my go-to. And then be still. Put your hand where you feel it and just be with it. And then maybe you'll journal.
Allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to release.
Yeah, and at some point, sound has to come in. At some point, there's so many women. I work with mostly women. I'm sure it's true for men as well and all people, but they can't make the sounds because the block is here. And at some point, when and if you can, the sound has to come.
Unblock the throat chakra. Give ourselves permission to have voice, whatever way that may be. Thank you. You are speaking my language. And I'd love to know more. Let's talk about your business, Ritual Everyday Rituals. Tell us about that. And how did that actually come about? And how can you help other women release all this bloody stuff that we've got?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity to talk about it. Ritual Everyday Ritual came about as, well, it's been a seed for over 20 years for sure in me. And I thought the first manifestation of this was me owning a bed and breakfast. Because the seed I had when I was younger was, oh, I bring people together. I really enjoy social gatherings. I am hospitable. And then, that thing where you're like, oh, you have to solve it. Oh, must be a bed and breakfast. And I carried that for a while. I even got a job at a bed and breakfast because I was like, oh, I'm going to own one day, so I should work in one. And then slowly that just hung in the air, and I kept asking and seeking, and it morphed into maybe it's a retreat center. And I held that for a little while. And then as I got more into the work of divine feminine, and then with this coach I used, her name's Sophia Ladera, who really specializes in providing clarity of purpose. Like, how can you get from your 1.0 self to your 2.0 self? She gave me the tools and the time to really get clear, like Akashic records and pendulums, and like we're going in and asking your guides what this is. And so that really was a clarity point of what this was. And the embodiment of ritual, everyday ritual, is to help corporate America and maybe beyond, but that's where I'm based right now. And I know corporate is global, so there's reaches that way, to move away from capitalism. Like, I want to be a part of that solution where women are leaving in droves and they're needed. So my underlying mission is to help corporate women, professional women, stay in corporate if they want to, like not be on their will.
If they wish to. That is a very big undertaking. Congratulations. Would love to know more on how you're doing. So thank you. And in that, if we're talking about women who are in a corporate environment, but they don't really support this kind of work that you're doing, then what are some small ways that they can start integrating these ideas into their day?
So the theory would be working with women in corporate on issues that are team related. Oh, we're always missing our goals, or we have a conflict with our boss, or the culture is toxic, or maybe not quite toxic, but it's not thriving. And so it would most likely be either the manager of the team and a few of those teammates, or certain advocates within the corporation, where we would meet for 8 weeks in a circle format, and we would dive in to that particular challenge. And then as you unpack that, you realize where your responsibility lies in contributing to that challenge and what you can change. And so I think the ripple effects will come from that, because I realize that it's a big ask to come with the full divine feminine embodiment and integration into a corporate setting. But I think we can bring it in ways where the challenges are so present and the solutions are so needed that they would be willing to try something like a circle.
Absolutely. I think that too. Whether it's a in-person circle or even an online circle in today's world, we do so much online. So it is quite possible, and I'd be honoured if Sacred You could be part of something. Absolutely honoured. So let's talk sometime soon. No, truly, because I feel, Karen, I said, not only are you speaking my language, you are an inspiration, and your message for the world, it's really helping women to step into their power.
Yes.
To step into, to get to know who they really are, instead of living a life that they think they should be because of someone else in their life has these certain expectations. Really appreciate you talking to us. And I said, I'd be honoured to be part of your whole concept, everyday rituals and ritual every day. Now, Karen, before we say farewell, Is there anything else that I could have asked you? Is there any other question that I could have asked you? And how would you be answered?
There's just one more thing on my heart that it's a silly thing, but it's not a question, but it's an example.
Yes, please share.
Okay. One thing that I realize, this might speak to the audience a lot, is one of the biggest things I had to overcome was advocating for myself in my marriage. And there, if you do it somewhere in one area, you're doing it in every area. But it came through as something that I really had to ask for as an investment in myself. And it was a discussion with my partner. And I just want to acknowledge, like, it's one thing to know, to get real, look in that mirror with just you in the mirror and say, I want to change. But if you don't put that change to action, you're not going to change. And so I had to say, okay, I want to invest in myself. I want to deepen this journey. It's a double-digit investment, like all the things that go through your head.
Yeah.
I'm not worth it. And I had to find my why and my yes, and then have that conversation. It was really scary. And this is somebody I chose to live with and be with. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that moment comes up again and again, and it's hard, but the action has to follow the realization.
And it's so true. You know, we have the realizations, but that's the first thing. We become aware of whatever it is that we need to change or that we don't like about ourselves, but then we do have to put those actions into it. No matter how scary it might seem, no matter how hard, and as we talked about, we have a lot of fear, but the way of doing it is, or the way of overcoming fear is just to go and do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you ever so much. I'd love for you to come back. And like I said, and let's talk more sometime about how Sacred You can become involved in your mission, because for us, our mission is to touch women's lives everywhere. And I think you are a wonderful example of that. So thank you. And for everyone who's watching or listening, do yourself a favor, click on the links below and reach out to Karen, because I think you're doing, or Karen is doing, some amazing things.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sophia. I'd be honored.
Thank you for joining us today on this journey with Karen, who shared her practices on how she was able to embody her truth and become real. Do click on the links below to find out everything that Karen offers. And for more empowering conversations, tools, and strategies, follow Sacred You on all our social media, or visit our website at www.sacredyou, that's the letter U, .love. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. It's time to take that step and embody who you really are. And in Karen's words, get real, get clear, get over it, and get on it. Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast today. Stay grounded, stay inspired, stay connected, and until next time, keep walking your pathway to well-being.